Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Today feels different, but first I'm going to welcome you to the Advancement Center and to the world of magic and miracles, which is what I am feeling right now. There's a silence here. I feel like I'm coming to you from another dimension. There is no movement, no sound, and maybe 6 or 7 leaves moving imperceptibly. No birds, no lizards, just still. And it is magic that you've stepped into with me. Numerologically, today is a 1. So there's newness in every aspect of thought, ability, and vision. I invite you all to join me as I describe a new experience of freedom. Freedom from all limits, published and unpublished, and sometimes self-imposed. I almost don't want to speak. I want to reach out and invite you all to sit here in this beauty. Wow. I almost don't want to break the silence for you. I want you to just enjoy the flowers, enjoy the canyon, the mountains, the colors, the flowers. Like most things in the world, it is necessary to demonstrate what you can see so that others can find the image that presents itself to you through the clouds, trees, or general environment. And this gives me great joy to share with you again, where one day Robert and I were standing in the breezeway looking at the sky when all of a sudden I saw him. I pointed it out. I pointed him out to Robert, who snapped this photo. So that's what it says. Sometimes you have to have proof of what you're looking at. And I was just so grateful because I love the clouds. I love the sky. So now, to demonstrate what is beyond technology will require a concentrated effort to find something that allows people to see beyond a doubt the unique capabilities available to them. Each person can relate to something special, but there is a massive control over the forums that allow That's funny. A massive control over the forums that allow such have always been beyond explanation. It is reasonable for you to have gradually pushed this part of your existence into the background. But now it is back. And in the full brilliance of your unique light. Separation is the unique problem of the physical world. It is not the requirement. For this reason, all the adjustments you have made to be acceptable will now be removed. You need all the connections available to transmit everything to the physical realm that is available from infinity and beyond. And there was that picture of that magnificent cloud formation of a being looking down on us. In addition to this, there are many opportunities to take on new approaches to the world of magic and miracles and to bring it into the focus of everyone in your life. And I know that is what we all want and deserve. Well, it all started with a conversation at dinner. David said something beautiful regarding my latest pastel, and I began to explain the experience and what was said and what was not said and what I was facing. And Robert said, Stop. Stop promoting others and speak from your own knowing. What a revelation. Here I've spent my whole life explaining and letting everybody know certain values and what to be remembered and all those important things. To which Robert said, No, we're not interested. We want to know what you know. So, this is what happened. Yesterday morning, or I should go back a day before, my dear friend Susan Terry let me know that there was going to be a Zoom call with people all over the world gathered together to commemorate, memorialize, just remember their dear friend, Reinhold Ziegler. And it'll be at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time because they wanted to make sure that his family in Australia could join and his friend in Saudi Arabia, all over the world. And I don't know. I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but I wasn't that turned on. But yesterday morning, Spirit woke me up in time to get ready and be present for the Zoom call at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And for the next 2 hours, I had a most amazing, eye-opening, heart-opening, wonderful experience. Reinhold passed recently, and how do I know Reinhold? We both served on the board of the Peace School, which you've heard me speak about in the past, and I'll speak a little bit more. And I always enjoyed his enthusiasm, his vision, his awareness of the need for children to be free to discover what they've brought. So it was very sad to know that we lost him. But I'm going to give you a little history first. Back in 2010, Robert and I held our first retreat at a place called Earthgate in Pennsylvania. And the night before it started, this was a long time ago, 2010. I just met Robert in 2009. But Spirit made it himself known when he came crashing into my awareness and said, call Susan and tell her to get to this retreat. So I did. Now, Susan lives 12 hours away in North Bay, which is north of Toronto in Canada. She heard me. I think she heard Spirit behind me. And she said, I'll be there. Now, I've known Susan since 1981, so we're old friends. We've roomed together, enjoyed each other's company. Well, the next day she showed up. And it was a wonderful retreat. Everything about it was magical. Robert opened areas that were not open before. People felt the magic. We saw the miracles. And the time flew. But on the last day of this retreat, Robert went around a rather large circle of people, maybe about 40 or 50. And he asked each and every one, as I ask you now, what is your heart's desire? And they all said wonderful things. I mean, this was not your typical retreat. People really spoke from their heart about their deepest wish. Wow. Well, Susan had no problem replying. She said, I want to build a school. I want to, let's see, I have something here that's getting in my way. So, okay. So she said, I want to build a school. I've wanted that ever since I've been in the first grade. And she was just so excited and loving the magic that was so present in this hall. And she wanted to remain in the magic felt by everyone, especially Robert. And then he told her, don't linger. Go and follow your spirit and create the school. Peace School. The name was created as she drove the 12 hours back to Canada. And they stand for Paradigm Education Academy of Conscious Evolution, PEAC. The fly is interested too. And it was set by the time she got home. It was set. And she began the Peace School. And Robert and I served on the board for years. And his love of what the future can bring endeared him to us all. So now I get to tell you what happened on that Zoom call. First of all, I can't even tell you how many people were on the Zoom call. All I know is that I had to flip many, many pages until I found where my picture was showing. And then I discovered this beautiful man with vision who sat on the board with me was a visionary for dozens of people all around the world. And each one, it was a man from Saudi Arabia, Africa, everywhere. They each told their story. There was one, I forgot his name, but he's a videographer. And he said, I met Reinhold when I was in high school. And he turned me on to capturing with video what I know to be true. And someone else said, well, I met Reinhold and we decided to create a community where all the services would be provided by Beyond Technologies. I mean, I am so glad that this was recorded because they were all sad at having lost Reinhold. Now, I want to remind you what Robert said to me the night before. Stop promoting and start speaking from your knowing. So, of course, they're asking people to speak, and we all took turns. And I'm usually the listener. But I spoke up. and I was acknowledged. And I said something to the effect of, to all appearances, Reinhold has made his exit. But I know he's made his entrance. And his real purpose is just beginning. I'm listening to the words that come out of my mouth, and I said, yes, Reinhold has gathered all of you people who would never know each other if it hadn't been for Reinhold. His love has been the thread that created the fabric of this call. And I just spoke of his love. I spoke of his innovativeness. I spoke of, he had communities building all over the world, in Netherlands, everywhere. And I said, his work has just begun. I could hear people expressing something. And I said, and more than that, we are not just meeting on this Zoom call. Reinhold has just introduced us to our family. The family that has found each other and will create from the future. And Reinhold is very present. And down in the chat, I happened to glance down, and Susan said, Barbara, you just brought me to tears. I just listened to Robert. I didn't just defer. I spoke what I know. And what I know is vast. And that's exciting. And I say this to you. You know so much. We've experienced so much together as we travel with Robert, and we travel and joyfully join Simeon, and we look at each other as family, fellow travelers in the world of magic and miracles. I wrote this, leading from the future, shared my vision, and coined our new understanding. We are family. Yeah. It is just so much fun to tell you of these experiences, to have the opportunity to share. I've been accused of the word share is my favorite word in the English dictionary. But you're all very, very important and very dear because you carry this light aloft. Now I'm going to read my journal. For those of you who might never have tuned in before, I have history and the honor to have come across Simeon right after I met Robert. I found a CD, and just out of curiosity, I played it while Robert was away at work. And what I heard told me everything about why I was in that place at that time. And ever since, I've had a running correspondence with Simeon. I have journals from one end of the bookshelf to the other. And here's the latest. Of course, I told him all about that wonderful Zoom call. And he said, "You did it." Dearest Barbara, you did it. You heard Robert at dinner last night. You let you out, and you've turned a most important corner. Gracious acknowledgement of another is one thing, but putting yourself last is foolish, unnatural, and nothing is gained. You have been like a beautifully wrapped gift to everyone. Today, you dropped the promoter and spoke from your knowledge and brought tears with your sincerity, clarity, and confident knowing. You have become an expert in Barbara and what she knows with with no hesitancy in sight. Your broadcast tomorrow bodes very well with a treasure of newness, spontaneity, and pure Barbara, with not a hint of anyone else or concern over anything. You got this. Love, Simeon. He wrote that last night. It's like, and this morning I couldn't resist because can you imagine having a correspondent who always answers you? You can ask him anything. And by the way, that is an open invitation by Simeon for you to write to him. And this morning I wrote, "Dearest Simeon, I never understood how they could ever use the word theater, in quotes, in describing the war, like the European theater, etc. The moment one is awake, you see the show. Anywhere from horrendous to hilarious, anything to keep us from our own being, our own existence here on earth for a lifetime visit before returning to our origin. Just as a governor on our car limits the speed we can go, adults govern the limitlessness of a child. Freedom of expression, movement, love of all things, of two-legged and four-legged. I think there's more. Oh, yeah. They say the child within I can now say, let your child breathe the sunshine, dance in the puddles, and feel the freedom before being shut down by a self-control mark on your report card. Can you imagine a teacher, a person in authority can mark your self-control? Mm-mm. Take those controls off. No wonder that it's so natural for children to daydream of freedom, freedom to experience, explore, and expand beyond limiting beliefs through the megaphone of the media. You cannot mask a smile. And they tried. You cannot ground a free spirit. And they tried. Thank you, dear Simeon, for all you and Robert hold aloft for all to know and experience via life enhancing transmissions. Love, Barbara. And he answered, Dearest Barbara, the kite is free to dance on the wind and stay in sight as long as its string is secure in the loving hands of the one on earth. Now it's your turn to dance aloft and above all restriction. Your open arms holds us all in your loving embrace, and together, once again, we can celebrate life. We love and adore you. Love, Simeon. Write to Simeon. See what happens. And here is that art that we spoke about that started this whole thing. Right here. Trying to make it straight. So that's the art that happened on Thursday. And I love when Robert says, do you know it changes every time I look at it? So this has been wonderful for me, enjoying this new freedom and enjoying your presence. And with that, I wish you a perfect life, perfect health, and an amazing future. Love to you. I am Barbara.